This song, Orza Rua, this version was written by Beth Hammond, who I met at Song Leader Bootcamp several years ago. And she posted this version on Facebook, and I asked her if we could use it for our service. She was delighted about it. So the Hebrew translates to, light is sown for the righteous and joy for the kind. So what a great thing right now is light and kindness, something we all need. The basic melody for this, if you'd like to sing along, the Orza Rua part, it goes like this. Orza Rua, latzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Orza Rua, Orza Rua, latzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Orza Rua. So please join with that part when it comes into the song. I don't want much, only somewhere I know I belong. I don't want much, just a place I can call home. I don't want much, just a warm, dry bed at night, and a morning filled with new light. Orza Rua, latzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Orza Rua, Orza Rua, latzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Orza Rua.
I want this life to celebrate each waking hour. I want this life to find a way to make things fair. I want my life to be a candle glowing bright and a heart that's filled with delight. Orza Rua, latzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Orza Rua, Orza Rua, latzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Orza Rua. I don't want much, just the time we spend to make new friends. I don't want much, just a smile and a hug to share. I don't want much, but the sunset in the western sky and the stars that shine with new light. Orza Rua, latzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Orza Rua, Orza Rua, latzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Orza Rua, Orza Rua. The first thing we do when we wake up is we say the Moda Ani, saying that we are grateful for the day that we have before us. You'll notice in this version that Melech is replaced with Ruach. So some like to think of the divine as a spirit or an energy, which is Ruach, as opposed to a king, which is Melech. So feel free to say whichever version you're comfortable with. And I'm going to ask you to move around a little bit. You ready for this one? Okay, so I've got two versions. You can take the complicated one or the easy one, okay? So the easy one can go like this. You're just gonna go right, clap, clap, left, clap, clap, right, clap. So you can just sit in your seat if you want to stand up, feel free. If you want to try that tough one, you're gonna add a different thing the second time around. So you're gonna go step, clap, 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 tap, tap, clap, clap. Okay, so you choose. Do you feel like being challenged this morning? Or you just feel like relaxing? You can also just sway left and right, that's fine too. All right, so this version of the Modani is by Billy Jonas, also somebody from SLBC. And so I'll get us all started first, okay? So we can all move in the same direction. You ready? We're gonna start to the right. Right, clap, clap, right, clap, clap, clap. Clap, clap, left, clap, pat, pat. Right, clap. Here it goes. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do, the song is called I Rise. And prayer can be different for every person and sometimes different every day for each person. You might come to prayer to connect with your community. Maybe you come for something personal or to pray to a more traditional God or idea. Some maybe just come for the music. So whatever your reason for being here today, let's all think about what that is. Center our thoughts on the purpose for your morning here. And as we sing through I Rise, I invite you to write in the chat, what's your reason for coming to prayer today? And I will try to include those in the song as we go. I apologize if I miss anybody's, but I will try to get all of them. Let me make sure I can see the chat, that would help. All right, so the words for I Rise. Are I rise, in the presence of the infinite I rise, one with all the earth I rise. Okay? Breathing in blessings I rise, one with all the earth I rise. Those are all the words. So I think you'll catch on pretty quickly. I see some people already started. I love it. Keep them coming. Okay, let me make sure there we go. I rise in the presence of the infinite. I rise, one with all the earth. I rise, breathing in blessings. I rise, one with all the earth. I community I rise. To connect with others I rise. To remind me of the Sabbath and sing I rise. Gratitude and music I rise. My wife made me I rise. For the music I rise. In the presence of the infinite I rise. One with all the earth I rise. To hear my niece's beautiful voice I rise. To connect with others, to love I rise. In the presence of the infinite I rise. For family I rise. For the Sinai family I rise. One with all the earth I rise. I want to make sure I didn't miss any, so I'm going to scroll up. Hang on. For my mother's yahrzeit I rise. Gratitude for the sun I rise. To do Shabbat with family I rise. One with all the earth I rise. In the presence of the infinite I rise. One with all the earth I rise. One more time. In the presence of the infinite I rise. One with all the earth I rise.
We turn now to an English reading.
These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
The song Sadiq Katamar, according to the Midrash, Psalm 92 was said by Adam, and Adam was created on Friday, and he said this psalm on the onset of Shabbat. It is not a psalm that speaks about Shabbat, but one that was said on Shabbat, and this was Adam's first day of existence, and he marveled at the work of the Creator. In the English translation, I must admit that I did not know what a date palm was, or exactly what cedars in Lebanon are, and so I found photos of both of those as we listen to the words.
Sadiq Katamar Yifrach Yifrach, Sadiq Katamar Yifrach, Sadiq Katamar Yifrach Yifrach, Sadiq Katamar Yifrach. Be'eretz Lebanon Yizkir, Be'eretz Lebanon
Ilu Finu, let us have songs to fill our mouths as full as the sea. This is by Linda Hirschhorn, who I had the honor of singing with when I was 12 years old when she came to my community in Buffalo. And it was an experience I will never forget. So please join in this round if you'd like of Ilu Finu.
Ilu Finu Male Shira Kayam. Ilu Finu Male Shira Kayam. Ilu Kayam. Let us have songs to fill our mouths as full as the sea. Let us have songs to fill our mouths as full as the sea, full as the sea. Ilu Finu Male Shira Kayam. Ilu Finu Male Shira Kayam. Let us have songs to fill our mouths as full as the sea. Let us have songs to fill our mouths as full as the sea. To fill our mouths as full as the sea. Let us have songs to fill our mouths as full as the sea, full as the sea. Ilu Kayam.
We now turn to the words of the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikra vikra shmei rabba, amen. Beom adivra kirhute, beom lif malchute, bechayo yekon uv yomekon uv chayetekor be Israel. Bagala, bagala, uvisman kariv, bimeru, amen. Yeheshme rabba mavora, leom umo me omaya. Barach, Viet Tabach, Viet Par, Viet Roman, Viet Nasa, Viet Hadar, Viet Tale, Viet Halal, Shemedi Kudisham, Berechu, Leomain Kal Bechirata, Veshirata, Tushbechata, Benechmata, Da Arif Beom, Beoma, Bimeru, Amen.
Chava Morel was brought here a couple of years ago by Mike Miller's family to do a concert with the community and work with them for the weekend, and it was wonderful. She's an amazing musician, singer, composer, and human being. So if it is your custom to rise, please do for Chava's version of the Baruch Hu.
Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Come all of you, come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Do 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 do.
Blessed is the blessed one. Blessed is the giver of blessing. Blessed in this moment now and every now to come. Blessed is the blessed one. Blessed is the giver of blessing. Blessed in this moment now and every now to come. Come all of you. Come all of us. And bless the one who blesses. Come all of you. Come all of us. And bless the one who blesses. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Come all of you. Come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Come all of you. Come all of us, and bless the one who blesses. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
All right, the Ma Rabu, the words are all about awe and awareness. It's about noticing all the beautiful things around you. When we are at a loss for words, you can say Ma Rabu as an exclamation for such beauty that surrounds you. So ultimately, it forces us to pause and look around and be grateful for all the things that we have. We asked some of our students at the school to share with us the things that they noticed and are grateful for. So you'll see some of their contributions during this song. And I invite you to share as well in the chat if you're comfortable, or just think to yourself about some of the things that you are grateful for today, and join with us for Ma Rabu. Give me a second to share this. Oops. Marabu, 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 Ma'asecha Adonai.
I'm thankful for a family.
Marabu, Ma'asecha Adonai. Kulam b'chokhma asita. Kulam b'chokhma asita. Kulam b'chokhma asita.
I'm gonna think for this is Mother's instead. This is my kid home and I'm family.
Marabu, Marabu. Adonai. Kulam b'chokhmah asita.
I drew me. I'm thankful for myself.
Kulam b'chokhmah asita. Marabu. Marabu.
I am thankful for my mom and dad, video games, books, life, and my dogs.
Marabu, Marabu, Ma'asecha Adonai. Marabu, Marabu, Ma'asecha Adonai. Last time. Marabu, 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 Ma'asecha Adonai. Okay. So this version of the Shema was written by a teen band actually in Illinois called Shir Chadash. And they kind of included a version of the Ve'ahavta, their own translation, as part of it, which was, you shall love with all your heart, your soul, and with all your might. You shall teach your children to hope, to love, and to know what is right. And that'll lead right into Josh Warshawski's Ve'ahavta, which uses part of the Ve'ahavta, but then it also used as a piece from Pirkei Avot, which is a book that is often used for some teachings. And the words are, love your neighbor as yourself, if not now, when? And you shall love with all your heart, your soul, and with all your might. So please join J-Rock in singing the Shema and the Ve'ahavta. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la.
We turn now to the Michamocha, our prayer the song of the sea. And as we come up on Passover, it seems especially even more meaningful.
Okay. Mi kamocha, Laili Adonai, Mi kamocha, Nedar Bakodesh, Nora Tehilo, O Sefele, Nora Tehilo, O Sefele, Mi kamocha, Laili Adonai, Mi kamocha, Nedar Bakodesh, Nora Tehilo, O Sefele, Nora Tehilo, O Sefele, Mi kamocha, Laili Adonai, Mi kamocha, Nedar Bakodesh, Nora Tehilo, O Sefele, Nora Tehilo, O Sefele.
Thanks, Alex. We now turn to the tefillah, sort of the what's considered often the heart or the center of our service. And so we'll start with the initial part being offered by Lauren Lieberman, and then two of our students from our religious school, Sivan and Sapna, for the rest of the prayer.
Adonai tifatati ufia gitehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai tifatati ufia gitehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Ha'akol, V'Zoker Hasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mivli Geulah Livnei V'nehem, Memar Shemo Be'achava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Yitzhak Sarah. Atah Gibor Elam Adonai, Mehayeh HaKol Atah, V'Arav Le'Oshia, Mashiv Harua U'Mariv Hagashem, Mehakel Hayim Behesed, Mehayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofeh Holim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato B'Shenei Avad, Mihama Haba Gevurot, U'Midol Melach, Melech Meni Mehayeh, U'Matzmiah Yeshua, V'Ne'eman Atah Hayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mehayeh HaKol.
Thank you so much to Sapna and Sivan and to Lauren for that introduction. We move on now to the words from the Kedusha, a prayer that sanctifies or makes holy the name of God. It is a combination of passages from the Torah, and these verses come from a prophetic visions in which angels sing the verses as praise to God.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה לטובתו. נגיד גולך ולנצח נצחים קדושך נעדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
The Vishamru talks about the importance of keeping Shabbat. It's a tradition that connects Jewish people all over the world. In our family, Shabbat is a special time filled with music and challah and chicken soup. I invite you to share in the chat some of your family's favorite Shabbat traditions, and please join us for Vishamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת שבת וינפש שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. אותי לעולם. אותי לעולם.
We now turn to some English readings.
We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in the darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world. On this day, Shabbat abide. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
As we wish for a world with more peace, we invite Elise to lead us in Sim Shalom.
Sim Shalom, Sim Shalom, Sim Shalom, Tova Uveracha, Chen v'chesed v'rachamim, Aleinu, ve'al kol yirei shemecha, Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace. Bless our country, that it may be a stronghold of peace. May contentment reign within its borders, bonds of friendship throughout the world. Plant virtue in every soul, and love of your name in every heart. Sim Shalom, Sim Shalom. Praise be you, O God, giver of peace.
We now take a few moments for silent prayer. At this time in the service, our thoughts turn to those who are in need of healing. We ask God to grant them a full and speedy recovery and to comfort them and those that are their caregivers. I will read a list of names aloud, but I also invite you to add any names to the chat, and we'll get those as well. At this time, we think of Shana Esther Bat Rachel, Chaya Necha Bat Riva Leah, Katriel Parachia Ben Herschel Lazar Vishoshana, Sally Graff, Sarah Bat Avraham Visara, William Fawcett Jr., Alan Skirker, Laura Braun, Barbara DeCario, Miriam Bat Ella, Stephen Brent, Renee Feingold, Meredith Cabanis, Reverend Gordon Webster, Mary Paikunka, Irving Manis, Ralph Bookbinder, Masha Butcheva, Christine Yang, Zayed Weeby, Greg Novogenitz, Susan Silton Tobias, and Kim Delisle Stanger. We also think of Thomas Gibbs, Frida Lewis, Lance Bolke, David Rosenzweig, Lori Drescher, Linda Reitzenstein, Tom Peters, Christine Platt, and Lois Suplutnik, Joel Brill, Richard Jaff, Judy Weiner, and Leslie Frank, Patrick Doherty, Ria Rose Singh Sen, Mitchell Babcock, Rachel Shapiro, and Amy and David. We'll now turn together in song of prayer for healing with the song of Heal Us Now.
We turn now to our Torah service. It is with great joy that we call upon Abby Urban Rifkin for the Aliyah and Susan Rizzo for the Torah reading. Yamod Rishon, Abigail bat Avraham v'Sara.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamborak. Baruch Adonai Hamborak Leolam Vayed. Baruch Adonai. Baruch Atah Adonai. Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher barakar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et torto. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Vayakel Moshe et kol adat b'nei Yisrael vayomer alehem ele advarim asher tziva Adonai la'asot otam. Sheshet yamim ta'aseh melacha u'vayom hashvei yiyeh lachem kodesh Shabbaton l'Adonai kol ha'oseh bo melacha yumad. Lo tavaru eish bechol moshvotechem beyom hashabbat. Vayomer Moshe el kol adat b'nei Yisrael limor zeh hadavar asher tziva Adonai lemor. Kechu meitchem teruma Adonai kol nediv libo yivi'eha et terumat Adonai zahav v'chesed u'nechoshet. Utechelet be'argaman v'tolaat shani b'shesh be'izim ve'orot elim me'atamim ve'orot techashim ba'atzei zitim. V'shamen lamaor uvesamim l'shemen hamishcha v'liktoret hasamim ve'avnei shoham ve'avnei miluim la'efod ve'lachoshen.
Baruch Hu atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natanu lanu Torah emet v'kaye olam nata betokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Thank you so much to both Abby and Susan for the blessing and the actual Torah reading. We now turn to words of a commentary on the Torah, which are offered by Nancy Krause.
Vayakhel is the first of a double portion which ends the book of Exodus. It follows Ki Tisa, where we have just experienced the sin of the golden calf, and Moses has begged for God's forgiveness and asked God to reveal God's character to him. This closeness and understanding of God as compassionate is important for how the people respond to Moses's requests of them in this portion. The name of a portion is always in the first line and is always significant. Vayakhel means to assemble. The Hebrew word kehila, a Jewish community, is derived from its roots. In Vayakhel, Moses calls the people together for a holy community, and he begins his address to the people by reminding them of the necessity to observe the laws of Shabbat, and that as they build the holy tabernacle, these laws must be observed. Next, Moses asked the people to bring donations for the building of the tabernacle. Most meaningful to me is that he states that these gifts should be gifts of the heart, motivated by a generous spirit and caring. I'll come back to this idea later. He also states that these gifts should be earned from one's own personal labor. The response by the people is overwhelming. When they have more materials that they can use to build the tabernacle, Moses calls a halt to the giving. Here you can actively see the making of the Kehillah, a holy Jewish community. It is also interesting to note that people bring their gifts at dawn, where the people are less likely to be recognized and call attention to themselves. Another marker of giving from the heart rather than for kudos. God chooses Bezalel to be the chief artisan of the tabernacle. His name, Bezalel, means in God's shadow, and can signify that his work is a glimpse of God. The commentator Rashi has written that Bezalel is endowed with 3 divine gifts. First, skill, chokmah, or what he has learned from others. Second, ability, or tivunah, which is a result of his own insight and experience. Third, knowledge, da'at, divine inspiration, recognizing that our ideas often come from an unknown source. These 3 qualities of skill, ability, and knowledge are so important that we pray for them in the weekday Amidah. Bezalel comes from a prominent lineage from the tribe of Judah. Alongside Bezalel, God chooses Oholiab, who comes from the lowly tribe of Dan, making the choice of lead builders to be truly inclusive. So with contributions of the community, the leadership of Bezalel, and artisan workers, both men and women, who saw and hammer, cover wood with precious metals, and weave coverings, the tabernacle is created. It includes many furnishings, including a place to hold the commandments, art curtains, and a 7-branched menorah. Now I want to get more personal. As I read this portion, I was reminded of how much I miss praying in our sanctuary. I've lived in many cities over the years before I returned to Rochester, where I grew up. And on our travels, Ron and I always seek out synagogues to visit for Shabbat. None of the sanctuaries I have prayed in come near to having the feeling that I get when I walk in our sanctuary. This portion set me to wondering about what the founders of our temple told the architect when they talked about the construction of our temple and how the whole community may have been involved. And now I'm really interested in researching this and finding out about it. For me, the place where I resonated the most with God has always been the chapel in the woods in my Adirondack summer camp. We sat on logs and participated in children-led services. I loved listening to the birds and watching sunlight move through the leaves. It was so easy to feel God's presence in that space carved out of nature. I feel that our sanctuary captures that same essence. With the glass roof above and windows ahead, you see birds fly by, clouds floating past. leaves moving in the wind. And inside is filled with more greens of nature. And what about the furnishings that were chosen for our bima, the elegant lines and beautiful wood of a contemporary master craftsman? Another brilliant choice by those who worked on creating our sanctuary. In rereading this portion for my Devar, I could feel a direct connection between creating the Holy Assembly and the making of our beautiful sanctuary. Which brings me to the other way I made a connection between this portion with Temple Sinai. I believe that our community is so representative of what a holy community should be by our giving gifts of the heart. Whether it's food for the food cupboards, clothing for those in need, or book donations for children who have few books in their homes, we generously give. And we give our time as well. We spend time actively helping immigrants, reading with children in the city schools, or working in groups which stand up against racism, and much more. And by the way, on the newly constructed web page for the Social Action Committee as part of our new web pages, you'll be able to see many ways which you can contribute. As I thought about this portion, I felt a direct connection with our kahila, to the making of a beautiful sanctuary, and to our acts of giving from the heart. My prayer for us today is, let this congregation always be a holy assembly, where we can feel a closeness to God and give of ourselves from the heart.
Thank you so much, Nancy, for those words. It's always interesting to hear people's interpretations of Torah portions, and I'm always struck by the fact that it's the same portion year after year, and yet it seems just as relevant as any other year. All right, so we are going to turn to our concluding prayers. We have the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latek gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chalkenu kachem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad ushmo Ushamo echad.
We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who have died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. We think about those who are in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning. We think about Joan Harf, mother of Michael Harf, Simon Breitman, husband of Josephine, father of Blanche Fenster, Michael Rutberg, uncle of David Rutberg, Turk Morel, husband of BJ Mann, J.D. Weisenberg, cousin of Jerry Weisenberg, Stanley Tim Funk, cousin of Arlene Weisenberg. And we think about those for which this week marks a yahrzeit, or an anniversary. I will read the names. If you have any to add, please feel free to do so in the chat, and I will read them after. We think about Francis Applebaum, Faye Levine Arbus, Ray Cohen, Agnes Cole, Harriet Steinberg Krug, Melvin Fernandez, Nathan Fishgold, Freddie Fox, Esther Friedman, Adele Goldstein, Samuel Hyman, Joseph Keel, Joseph Kellerman, Herbert Kevin, Raymond Coleman, Harry Lebman, Selma Levy, Cam Hang Lui, Harold Mann, Arlene Messina, Sydney Metzger, Irene Niesner, Dorothy Olson, Molly Pierce, Ori Pranger, Hyman Ring, Ruben Rosenblum, Herbert Sadoff, Eileen Schneier, Nathan C. Schoenfeld, Anne Schrute, Michael Schinder, Marion Silton, Bess Soloway, Florence Sporn, Julius Stein, Kate Tarloff, Annette Wedge, Leonard Weiss, Edith Zatzkin. Bert Gordon, Eileen Kaplan, Drusilla Ronchen, Morris Kaiser, Samuel Kessler. The more than 530,000 who have died of COVID in the US in the past year. Zimronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. If it is your custom, please join me in the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah. Alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemed kudsha brichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Shabbat Shalom! We have reached the conclusion of our service. It has been such a joy to have so many different people participate and to be together on this Saturday to celebrate Shabbat. A couple of announcements before we move to our concluding song. Today at 5:30, we have a short Havdalah service, followed by getting ready for Passover. There'll be information about Passover and Passover Jeopardy. So be sure to tune in. The link for that is on the website. The Social Action Committee's speaker series on racism and health disparities in our community continues Tuesday, March 16th at 7 p.m. with speakers Dr. Sasha Nelson and Penelope Paris, pediatricians who will be addressing the environmental racism and health disparities among Rochester's children. We also have March Padness in partnership with the Rochester NCJW. Temple Sinai's Women's Chabura invites you to the March Padness 2021, a virtual pad kit making party. Your help and donations are needed. Please visit the Temple website to donate either supplies or purchase them on your own. And if you have any questions about being involved with this, you can contact Monica Katzel. And if you need contact information, the office can help you with that. Finally, please join us for the join us for the Women of Pesach with guest speaker Rabbi Yaifa Epstein on Monday, March 22nd at 7 p.m. Rabbi Epstein is the director of the Wexner Heritage Program. This session will explore the female characters of the Passover story and what they teach us about our own role in creating a more just society in 2021. Any brief announcements that I have neglected to, or that weren't on my list, if you'd like to unmute yourself.
Yes, tomorrow afternoon at 2:00, Interfaith Impact is presenting Zooming in on Albany, our new legislators speak. You need to register, so just email or call me and I'll give you the link to register. Thank you.
All right, excellent. And with that, we will do, oh, I have to share this, our Kiddush and Motzi.
The Hebrew word kiddush translates as sanctification or separation. As Jews, we separate or sanctify Shabbat as a day that is different from all other days of the week. We invite the Frank family to lead us in the Kiddush today, please.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
And please join the Newberg family for the Hamotzi.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our prayer is humbly said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Thank you to all of our participants. We could not have done this without you. It's so fun to see how many different people we can get involved. The talent that was brought forth is just so inspiring. And so to everything from Rick for running technology for us, to our Torah readers and prayer readers and music makers, and to Mary, who took many of the photos that we saw today of our synagogue. It takes a village, and we are so grateful, and my heart just feels so full to have done this with everyone. We turn now to our concluding song of, and this, just for anyone's reference, is just a list of composers of whose songs and tunes we used. We turn to our closing song of Adon Olam. As is our tradition with lay-led services, we will be spotlighting different people with the opportunity for you to just wave hello to everyone. If that's something that you don't want to do, feel free to turn off your camera now, and we won't do that to you. And with that, a Shabbat Shalom as we conclude with Adon Olam.
Adon Olam, Sher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Adon Olam, Ri'en Nasa, V'chefsa Kol, Azay Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Adon Olam, Ri'en Nasa, V'chefsa Kol, Azay Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'acharei
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.